All right, congratulations to the Jets. They did what they needed to do to win the game, and they deserve credit. Came up with the big plays in the second half that made the difference. We just didn't. We didn't play winning football. And in the end, I think you all know the situations that happened. You're welcome to ask me about each of them. But those are the things that make the difference in games. Okay?
John, what were you seeing from them defensively in the second half that you guys just couldn't get anything going on offense?
Well, they stopped the run. I mean, they stuffed us, and they're pretty darn good with the run defense. So we tried to stick to the run a little bit, and at times until the end, when we were down by 8 and trying to get down there and score to tie it up. And then the turnovers. Those are the things that stop the drives.
John, you talk about the need to play winning football. Something we don't see is in practice. Do you get a sense in practice things are turning around, or do you get a sense through practice that they're not getting corrected?
No, they're getting corrected. I mean, guys are working. We're practicing really well. We're practicing exceptionally well. That's why it's so disappointing. I come in here and expect to win all these games. These last 4 games, we played well. We should have won all 4 of those games. We did the things to lose those games. That's it. And not to take anything away from our opponent, but we're looking at ourselves, not our opponent. That's what we look at. And we did the things that you can't do to win a football game. And we're working hard in practice. The guys are young. They're paying attention. And we're practicing well. I tell you after practice when we have the press conference, we have a good practice. I'm not going to say that if we don't have a good practice. I'm not going to be happy. You know my moods. If we don't practice well, I'm not going to be happy. So that's what football coaches do. It's about practice. And it's happening in practice. It's not happening in the games. It does reflect some immaturity. It reflects poor decision-making in game situations. And, we've got to get it fixed. It's my responsibility to get that done.
Was it particularly a turning point, the second fumble after you caused the fumble, and they got it right back?
Yeah, you got to stay in the end zone there, and he knows that. That's not one where you bring it out. You're not a ball carrier. It was a huge play in the game. And obviously it was a difference in the game. If we're going for a field goal at the end and not a touchdown, so those are the kind of things that are costing us games, and those are the kind of things that have to stop.
John, with Joe, did you see any, because didn't practice as much, had a sore shoulder. Did you see anything when he was playing that was limiting him because of the injury?
I don't really know. I think you have to ask Joe. I'm not, I don't feel what he's feeling or anything like that.
Ratio was a little off. Was that a case of just you weren't gaining enough yards early and you kind of
abandoned
it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to look at first and second down, especially in the third quarter when we weren't able to run the ball. We had the turnovers. So we're not going to run the ball too much on third down and for in long yardage situations. We popped the huge run in the second quarter. We get the holding penalty. Now we're back. We jump. Now we're back to first and 25, I believe. So we're still running the ball if we hit that run down there, and that changes everything in terms of the yardage. So you just got to look at the circumstances in the game. We wanted to run the ball, even though they have a very good run defense. We were trying to run the football. We got nothing. Even in the third quarter, we came out and wanted to run the ball. We got nothing out of it in the third quarter. So and then by the time the fourth quarter came around, you're not going to just keep pounding your head into a wall and keep running the ball there. You're going to go at their weakness, and we thought we had a chance to do some good things throwing the football.
They got the running game going with 4-10 over the second half. Was that a case of defense being on the field a lot, or were you not playing defense well?
We expect, I don't care how long we're on the field, we expect to stuff the run. They had a couple runs. He made a couple good runs. He got an edge one time. Our defensive end smashed the edge blocker down inside, and Forte bounced it outside. You got to be able to make that play. So, yeah, we're capable of stopping the run no matter how long we're on the field.
John, you're a very short cycling team for the most part. Today it didn't seem like you're. Is there any reason for that? Was it more the Jets, what they were doing, or?
No, I mean, I think 81 had a nice play there. He's a really good player. A lot of respect for him. We respected him coming into the game. But that's the kind of play we've been making all year. Inside and in front cup tackling is something that we've been very good at. We weren't as good at it today, obviously, in that situation. That's why, I mean, we gave them a couple scores that those things don't happen. We win the football game.
John, you mentioned how well you're practicing. Why isn't it translating to the field in your mind?
I think that's the thing you always chase as a football coach. You chase it. There is no one answer for that. I mean, it's an unanswerable question. You pursue perfect practice. You pursue perfection in everything you do. You try to get everything exactly right. You do it with the players you've got out there. You try to come up with great schemes. The players work as hard as they possibly can, and to do things right, and they go out there and compete like crazy. And it's a tough business. It's a tough league. You know, you're going against an opponent that's trying to thwart everything you do. That's what sports is. So there's no easy answer for that. You just got to go fight like crazy and get better. You know, we've got to make it happen on game day. And, you know, for our team, where we're at right now, we're not going to be a margin for error team. It's not going to be like that. We need to be a sound, tough-minded, fundamentally smart playing football team. You know, we got the penalties knocked way down this game. I'm happy with that. But I don't like the 2 penalties that hurt us. I think we had 4 for 35 yards, but one of them is hands to the face that should have never happened, and the other one is a hold that should have never happened, okay? Even the flinch should have never happened, but those things will happen sometimes.
How about killer instinct? You had them 10-0 again like last week in second quarter.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not sure. You know, killer instinct is executing when you get ahead and putting people away and making plays, you know, taking advantage of the fact that they're down, whatever killer instinct translates to. We certainly don't have it right now. It's not just this week. It's been every single game for the last 4 weeks that we've lost. You know, we've jumped out to a lead. Well, I'll say the last 3 weeks to my memory. We've jumped out to a lead, and we give them an easy touchdown to get back in the game. Instead of us taking that 10-0 and making it 13 or 17, it's gone 10-7. 3 games in a row. That's got to be fixed.
Having 7 players who are starters and active, how hurtful is that to what you're trying to do?
Yeah, it's just another question that is impossible to answer because you can't put a measuring stick on how hurtful it is. But it's not ideal. You know, we also had to make some roster moves just to get 46 guys active. But that's the way it works in our league. That's the cards that we've been dealt. And I fully believe that every single player out there in this game, and I think that's evidenced by watching the game, is good enough to go out there and win the football game.
Hey John, what's the focus going into the bye week now for you guys?
Focus is going to be learning how to play winning football. Simple as that. All the things that go into that. Playing with discipline and intelligence, fundamentally sound football, and getting better at the things we need to get better at. And we'll look at those things. We're going to practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we're going to work at it like we always do. Our guys are going to come to work. That's just the way they are. We got high-character people who love the game, and we're going to get better. Okay?
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.